Okay, sorry for the unofficial start. I heard someone sing the national anthem for a second, so I really honed in on that, but I think that stopped. Anyways, welcome to beautiful Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Our matchup tonight is going to be a bombastic matchup between the Vancouver Frost Giants and the Moose Jaw Moose. I am your host, Katie, commentator and goalie for the Halifax Hooks. I'm joined by Nick in the booth tonight, famed captain of the Castors and renowned goalie and community member. And looks
Thank you. I appreciate that. I
yes,
appreciate the hype. I'm very excited to be here. I haven't had too many opportunities to hop in the booth, so I figured it was a night off. My game's being pushed back. I was happy to do it. Happy to be here.
it's a beautiful thing, and I think you missed it slightly. I didn't fully hear it. It sounded like they were singing the national anthem. I guess that's becoming a thing now. I don't
I'd
know
love to
who
see it.
who was doing it, but that's cool for the teams. But so going into this matchup tonight, let's take a look at these standings for these two teams before we get in. Both like really strong teams, I would say. The Frost Giants at the second position and the Moose Jaw Moose at the third position. So a heavy hitting matchup between the two. Both tied actually with 34 points. Forgive me. So a tie for second place. This could determine who's going to that second and that third spot in the standings. An exciting matchup. Any particular players that you're looking out for, Nick?
So many. There's so many game changers on each side. I'm mostly looking at Sleepy tonight. He's been the real difference maker for Vancouver. I
Oh
think
yeah,
they were pleasantly surprised with his upcoming. So very excited about him. And on the other side, well, I think it's hard to miss, right? Canoodle is
oh yeah,
by far and away the goal scorer for the Moose, so he
yeah.
should be a.
No, definitely some heavy hitters on both sides for sure. I believe Canoodle and Goodhart, the two leading scorers for Moose here, and Sleepy, a also notable recent pickup for the Bloomington Wild in D1, which is was some big news, some competition in the crease, some new faces there, and Lumily being greedy and getting both Sleepies for his team, but
I gotta wonder, both Sleepy. That's gonna be interesting.
yeah, and at least be easy to commentate if they have to switch out. But
Yeah.
definitely looking to see a skilled display from Sleepy here. Now a D1 goalie. And, you know what? A whole array. Pressing tab here, scrolling through these names. Just a star-studded lineup here. Again, really interesting matchup tonight with teams tied for second on the standings. Looks like we're still in our warm-up here. No stream is
Yeah,
good.
they're asking if we are good to proceed, and it appears that we are on our side. So I'm very excited, and much more than just the puck history. There's a lot of HQM history going on between both of
Oh
these
yeah,
teams.
I'm
A lot
curious.
of very storied teams. We'll get into that on in between games or on a bit more quieter moments. But there's a lot to say about the Tim Jim and the Beezy combo and
Oh yeah.
Nova and Parabola. There's a lot of history there. But here we go.
All right, and kicking things off, we have a instant rip towards the Frost Giants net. Sleepy having to stay awake for that one. Not quite going on target, and Paul K knocking across the crease. A bombastic start for this game. Jimothy picking it up and clearing it down. Finally, a moment of peace. Not 10 seconds, 20 seconds into this game. Parabola picking it up in his own zone. Gonna rip it down the sideboards. Tim Jim picking it up and getting it past maybe to Van Higgy, but safely cleared out for now until some Frost Giants collide in that middle zone. And a scrum in middle ice with Paul Correa picking up the puck, loading up a shot, perhaps a rip, and blocked by Sleepy, displaying those D1 talents.
It was a beautiful chance by Paul Correa. Definitely could have went in. It's unlucky bounce or very lucky bounce for Sleepy. I
Yeah.
don't know how you see it, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah, and those long shots are much harder to save than it really seems. And some good communication between the team here. DeBeezy picking up the puck off of Sleepy there with a nice little rip to Van Higgy, but not quite able to catch that pass. As Paul K is going to be able to apply some pressure now. Van Higgy picking up the puck again, looking for a shot, but that's one's going to go behind the net. Not quite on target, and a cross-crease pass stopped by Frigg. Frigg with some notable appearances in the preseason tournament as well. Some great starts for her. As we have Paul K skating it back up into the zone.
Yeah, talking about Frigg, she's definitely come a long way as a goaltender. I do not think she was expecting to start most of the season, and then when Monty suddenly became unavailable, she's definitely stepped up. The moves have
Yeah.
looked great. She back to back. She's coming off back to back shutouts against the
Man.
Castors. Yeah, so that's another good team. That V and all them being able to silence them, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, let a shutout, let alone a win, is a great feat to pull there. And I think Monty making some comments about his internet going on. So, you're glad to have Frigg as a goalie in the lineup as well when you're not starting your other guy. And two kind of goalies known for going for these shutouts, it seems. So it's going to be really interesting seeing if these are low-scoring games, and hopefully not seeing too many overtimes. I know Puck is bound to get some of those. And a rip, Sleepy jumping up and getting some contact with the puck there. That's a cute little play. As the puck is sent back into middle ice. Nova start picking up, loading up a shot, but that one's going to go wide. Paul K not quite able to pick up the rebound. As Van Higgy tries to get out of his zone. Some difficulties at first, but finally gets the clear. Not quite connecting to any teammates as Canoodle, the star scorer, is going to pick this up for the Frost Giants. Ripping it around to Parabola. Trying to get a play going here, trying to dodge some Frost Giants while they do it. Lettuce going to pick it up. Lettuce just great defensive presence. I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot of him on these plays here. Getting his stick almost in the way, but Sleepy being the one ending up making that final bat. And it is going to be hard to get through that aerial attack of Lettuce and Sleepy batting their sticks. As Tim Jim loads up a shot blocked wide by Frigg's stick.
Oh, another dangerous chance right in front there by Tim Jim. I mean, the Tim Jim and Van Higgy duo has been dynamite for the Vancouver Giants. It's a tough one to beat.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a dual threat in that Tim Jim, I know he can kind of shoot, but he also has some good handles up close. Van Higgy more known for his long shots, and when you're kind of dealing with both of those options, it's hard for your goalie to kind of hone in on defending just one type of attack. So it really makes it a challenge for any goaltender, even though we have some power players here. Right now we have
Sure.
Lettuce picking it up, sending it to Dabs on the wall.
But yeah, no, for sure, we definitely are in for a battle of titans. Like you mentioned, Lettuce and DeBeezy, that back end is very good, is very strong defensively. They're very oppressive, and they're both very good positionally. So it makes it hard, and they can stifle basically any attack coming at them.
Yeah,
They're in a
and
good position.
they have been around the block. DeBeezy coming from Ichikun Lettuce. Maybe some spiritual defense coming in from his PSO days, but both of them really talented and just very aware players. And I mean, it has to be frustrating to go up against the Frost Giants with, two of the best defenders in the league, one of the best goalies in the league. And it just feels difficult to get any offense going. So I'm curious to see how the Moose are going to kind of pick away at this as we get a clear over. Van Higgy trying to pick up the puck in the air, but we are going to exit that first period scoreless. I don't think I'm too surprised with that, but I'm very curious to see how long before we get our first goal.
Yeah, no, you can definitely tell both of the teams were buzzing at the end. I mean, honestly, it could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Either team could have ended up with a goal there. But yeah, no, for sure. A very interesting tidbit while we're kind of in a break. The last season of RSL, which was the D2 equivalent of HQM, Tim Jim and Dabs faced up against Nova on the other side, and Nova came out victor of that series, and he ultimately won the season 21 cup. So
Oh.
maybe that's telling for tonight. Well, I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah, we'll see if history is able to repeat itself or if Dabs and Tim Jim are able to break that fate as we get the puck dropping down into the hands of Lettuce, safely holding behind his net. a little collision with the goalie there as well as the puck sent down the ice. Parabola picking it up. Another one of those veteran presences. Sends it up to Paul K, seeing what he can get done with it, but squished by Lettuce. Still ends up with the puck and a shot. Sleepy jumping up to block that one with the chest. What an incredible save there. Really dynamic goaltending going on. I mean, for a 0-0 game. Yeah. Oh, 0-0 game. This is looking crazy.
It's a game of inches, right? So I feel like that even then that was a very good chance by the Moose and just ultimately stuffed up by that great defense and that great goaltending. So
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see.
not being afraid to get up into the air, kind of that confidence knowing that your chest is going to make the collision. Dabs loading up a shot, going just a little bit wide. Frig there just in case. And Novastar applying that pressure. Van Higgy and Parabola dueling behind the net. Van Higgy hoping to come out with the puck, and he does. Looking for that pass, but squished by Novastar, keeping his team safely protected from that offense. As a large clear up into the sky, not quite a threat for Frig just yet, but Tim Jim able to pick it up in that back corner as Novastar tries to get him off of it. And Parabola gonna just whack that up into the air, try and get this play killed. With a clear down the ice, not connecting to the teammate initially, but Dabs kind of giving it back up to Paul K as Canoodle's there for a shot, lines it up in the slot, low into the pads, and Paul K almost there to tap it in off the rebound. Like Nick said, just a game of inches.
That was definitely one of the more dangerous chances by the Moose there, and a good shot on net by Tim Jim, just not able to break past Frigg. Oh, another chance here though.
Oh my god! Looks like Novastar ended up colliding with that towards the end, but a series of incredibly close chances for these teams. Feels like the bubble could burst at any moment. And Frigg begging for some help getting this puck cleared as Van Higgy picks it up again, perhaps going for a wrap, but just loses the puck. And this has been a insane past 30 seconds after a pretty calm feeling intro to this game.
This has been everything but calm. This has been some great zone domination by Vancouver, but this, as you know, in puck, it's not always the case. It doesn't always result in a good scoring chance, but you never know.
Yeah.
Sleepy coming out to play. That's a little bit dangerous, but it goes unpunished. But Van Higgy with a nice opportunity here. Does not materialize.
Yeah, and it's kind of the difference you see watching some of these like D3 streams going into those D2 and D1 games where, you know, these players are much more confident and able to kind of, like you said, getting quality chances off of their zone plays and their rotations. And we're seeing it's not just, you know, some nice defensive plays and good goalies there, so nothing really feels like it's happening. This has been a crazy matchup despite that 0-0 scoreline. As we get Tim Jim chasing it up and off the wall, seeing if he can get a play going, but Canoodle gonna easily pick that puck up after Tim Jim kind of fumbles off the boards. A pass across the ice to Paul K. Canoodle getting open again. That puck's gonna end up behind the net. Little duel, seeing who can come out with it. As some pressure from Parabola, but Van Higgy able to keep it skating up on his own. Seeing what he can get done here, loading up that shot. But a little up and over the net, not going to be on target, and Frigg safely going to watch that sail above her as the Moose get their attack going now. A shot from Canoodle, beautifully blocked by Sleepy, right into the chest. Could have been dangerous, but not quite going in just yet.
Oh, talk about danger on the other end. Tim Jim with a chance. Oh, unable to, just purely defended by Parabola, just takes away all the chances and ends up going wide.
One more chance there with that little rush now to the corner, but not connecting again. Lettuce it up here for his team with a stretch clear down the ice. Van Higgy swimming on the ice there, must have been knocked down by somebody as Canoodle's going to pick it up and pass it over to Parabola, loading up another offensive play. This could be a shot. Ripped across low into the stick of Sleepy, and Van Higgy trying to clean up this attack before it gets even more dangerous. Parabola fighting Tim Jim in the corner. Knocked away by Dabs. This play, kind of a scrum in this corner here, trying to see who can come out with it. And looks like the play will die for now as Novastar picks it up and clears it into the slot. 0 seconds left. Kind of predictably going 0-0 into the third here.
Gotta shout out Frigg. There was a couple moments there where could have definitely gone in, but she stood on her head and then kept it out. And even Sleepy on his side, he had also some crazy saves.
Yeah, I mean,
definitely.
Battle of the Titans here as they're kind of playing around with the puck in middle ice. But like you said, like there's a few like low pad shots here and there. I think those are bound to happen in any game, but a lot of really quality chances for both these teams and even more quality saves from both goalies. This great matchup so far.
Yeah. And Monty did give me his pre-game prediction, so I won't say who he has predicting, but he did predict a 1-0 game. So
Okay. I think that is a
so
fair assessment. I'm more curious if he predicted or thought to predict if it would be overtime or not.
he didn't mention that part, but I would assume he did.
And you know, as this patch has kind of progressed in puck, we've seen a little bit more scoring level up. I know there's some issues in the past with every game feeling like it's going 0-0 to overtime, but it looks like these two teams are kind of reviving that with such strong defense and such strong goalkeeping. We might see some more of that, maybe even in both games, depending on if any of these attacks finally sneak their way through. Light kind of attack forming there for the Moose, but Frost Giant's gonna knock that one dead pretty quickly. As Dabs picks it up here, loads up his shot, but doesn't quite get the angle he wants. That's going to go into the boards, and Tim Jim's going to pick it up for him and try and keep this play going for the Frost Giants. Dodging around a few defenders, ripping that into the center, but Van Higgy just misses his shot there and knocked around playing pinball. And Parabola with a great block there. Not quite getting the shots onto the net, but getting some good looks regardless. The Frost Giants is really hoping to go ahead here.
Yeah, no, it's been a great game, and I know we talked about the Moose, but I just clicked. They are definitely missing one of their all-star forwards. I realized that Goody is not in
Oh,
attendance at
wow,
Goodhart.
yeah.
So as great as I think of a player Paul Gray is, I definitely do think if you end up losing this game, definitely think that maybe, what if, what if
Yeah.
Goodhart was here?
I think that could be a game changer here, or at least the difference maker in such a close matchup where, you know, we'll see if Paul K is there to save the day or if they're going to exit wishing that they had Goody on their lineup to help them out a little bit. Both of them with a pretty good shot, but Goody really been honing in his game lately as a shot goes straight into Sleepy. Noodle getting his chance off, but not quite picking that corner that he's looking for. They clear by Tim Jim down the ice, looking to find his teammate there, but that's going to get knocked aside behind the net of Frigg in Moose territory. Dabs picking up in the corner, looking for a cute little pass there. Van Higgy almost able to get it. Not quite in the perfect spot to pick that up and knock that one in.
Yeah, Canoodle always hanging back. He likes to play that cherry picker role, but he is very good at it. He is definitely one of the better shooters in the league, and can definitely make you pay if the defense does not respect him. So
Yeah, and it's not always the most flashy shooting, but like you said, very consistent, always ready to get that shot off. And even if it's not picking that perfect corner every time, you know, he's really good at getting on target, making that goalie make that save. And definitely a valuable asset to have to kind of feed the puck to. Van Higgy intercepting a little pass here. Almost gets a play going. Tim Jim trying to pick it up for himself. Few deeks left and right playing off the boards, ripping it across. Van Higgy able to pick it up again in the corner. Not quite keeping it though. Parabola safely clearing it out towards the Vancouver zone.
yeah, no, it's been quite the game so far. And Parabola is definitely for me one of the players you have to watch out for. He's been a known defensive defenseman all throughout HQM, all throughout puck. So he's definitely going to be able to stifle basically any attack that Tim Jim or Van Higgy can throw at him. So they might be looking for a bit more from DeBeezy or a bit more from Lettuce. I know Lettuce is very much capable of those long shots. So we'll see if we get to see one tonight.
Yeah, Parabola, like you said, a super strong defenseman, and you know every now and then can really receive a pass and kind of fire off a shot, but not who you're relying on for those main goal scoring opportunities. So we'll see who ends up being in these close matchups and these tight rotations from these teams. It really could be anybody getting this final goal in, but you're definitely looking at those Canoodle types, those Tim Jim types, even maybe Van Higgy. But really could happen at any moment. Frigg knocking that shot low. Dabs off the rebound. Gets the first goal for the Frost Giants. And Frigg just not quite able to control the puck off that bounce. The camera angle is quite bad here. But a beautiful way to take the most out of that opportunity. Dabs being the one to break the score barrier in this game.
Sometimes the less likely shooter that is able to put one in. Oh, another
Oh my
great chance
god.
by Van Higgy there. Wow. that could have quickly made it 2-0, but Frigg says no and stops that puck.
Yeah, was looking dangerous. The game was kind of escaping their clutches, but Frigg safely stopping the puck there, and almost another dangerous chance here, but just knocked away. Not quite gonna get in, tie up the game. And this could be game. There's 10 seconds left. The Moose really have to make a quick play if they want to get anything going. But what a opportune time for the Frost Giants to score as we close out this game, almost in overtime, but in the very last moments of the games, or of the first game rather, Dabs getting that go-ahead goal to secure that regulation win. And when it's such a close matchup, tied for second place in the standings, that regulation win, those points is going to do you a lot of favors.
Exactly. Every point matters, and also every point that you take away from the other team is very important. We'll see. I don't know if you'll see any substitutions this game. I think this is pretty much a set roster. I think maybe Chino could get some ice time, but I don't think so. Or Chipman for Vancouver, both solid players. But I don't think they make any subs. I think they just roll. Each team rolls it back and goes again.
Yeah, I mean, it was working well for both of them. A close game towards the very last moments. It's like the teams are making sure everybody's prepared, and especially with Goodhart not being even on the spectator list tonight. Seems like unlikely that team will make any subs with what they're working with, trying to play their best. And I'm interested about the, both Chino and Chipman been really proving themselves in those lower divs. And in some pugs, we could see some gameplay, but like you said, right now, seems like they're sticking with what's been relatively working.
I think for this game too, I don't think we've seen too much out of Nova. I know Nova is definitely more of a defensive type player, but I know he is very able to get up in the rush and help. So I wonder if we see a bit more of that in the second game, or more of the same from the Moose.
Yeah, we kind of saw that, like you said, we were talking about Davs' defense, but he's not one to be ignored when he's taking shots on you, and him being able to score that little rebound off of Frigg. That, like I said, really anybody could be the one to get the goals here. Puck dropping down in front of Dabs, going to try and safely knock that over to his teammate. A beautiful defensive play to get some offense going as well. Pushing up on that Nova Star. Man of the hour, knocking the puck back aside. And yeah, it really would be cool to see some of those defensive players. A great save by Nova Star. Speaking of defensive players, getting a little bit more active in that offensive zone, some rotations going. But I'm expecting it to be a little while before that first goal goes in with, such a star-studded lineup of defenders and goaltenders.
Yeah, no, for sure. These I'm excited to see Canuto get one. I think he's due. I think he is more than capable, and I think might be lucky. He might get to see one. I just hope for a very close game too, just kind of like what we saw for game one. I think we're treated to quite a game, and hopefully we'll get the same quality game for this one as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that game was super electric, and there were even some chances closer towards the end, even while the Moose were down that one goal. I'm expecting it to be another close one here, unless something strange happens with the offensive or defensive breakdown. But with such skilled players, I imagine it'll be a pretty consistent game as we get the puck dropping down with Lettuce picking it up and wrapping around. Canoodle getting caught up on the goalie a little bit. Some collision there, maybe not interference, but gotta watch where you're steering, Canoodle. No, he's itching to get a goal though.
Please, no interference calls tonight, boys.
Oh, I know Monty's not playing, but he's probably still too tired to deal with those. So, looking for some clean gameplay, obviously. Van Higgy going for a nice little shot. Frigg almost having to make the save there, but that's going to go a little bit wide. Tim Jim trying to pick it up off the wall, but that stick and wall collision really not doing anybody any favors right here. Still fighting for it, though, but surrounded by a few Moose. Not going to get much done there. A few chips in succession. He actually will come away with it. And rips it out in front, but not going to be a goal just yet. Going to remain 0-0 about halfway through this first period.
Oh, Lettuce coughs it up to Paul Correa. Paul Correa doesn't seem to have any stamina to keep it going. And ends up just being dumped to Canoodle. But pass in front. Could be dangerous. Isn't, but it's all good. And back in front. Yeah.
We get the Lettuce kind of fighting for it. Somehow gets knocked down. Not sure what happened there, but Novastar going to take advantage of that. Light little chip at the net. Gonna be an easy save for Sleepy. you know, but we're seeing Novastar get a little bit active, getting his shots off. Paul K loading up a shot here, dekes it back and forth, but Sleepy there to make a great save. Dabs picking it up, hoping to get this play killed before it gets even more dangerous. Noodle now.
For sure. That was a very important save for Sleepy. Both teams have been playing, one goal could be the difference maker here.
I know, and it's a test of composure at this point where, you know, you're gonna be facing shots regardless, but in the back of your head every time, knowing that this could be the goal that decides the game, you know, it can be nerve-wracking. So we're seeing a lot of composure from these goalies to keep making those routine saves, let alone these kind of dynamic ones as well. As Tim Jim gets a few dekes, Frigg keeping them pads low, not letting that one go in. A beautiful play by her, but Lettuce picking up his own attack here, chipped it up in the air, and Van Higgy's there just in case, but Frigg getting active, getting that stick in the way, and Parabola's gonna have to clear this one out.
Yeah, no, that was for sure one of the more dangerous chances that they had, and Frigg closed the door, says no, and keeps it going.
Yeah, a great heads-up play, kind of stepping out of the crease a little bit towards that puck, not giving that free pass up where, you know, sometimes the goalie is a little bit too passive, it creates an even worse chance. Sleepy with a great save. Paul K loading up that kind of long shot in lieu of Goody being there, getting his own shot going, but gonna be blocked by Sleepy. Anyways, Tim Jim almost getting that little chip in across the crease, but just wide. And some back-to-back chances for both teams. I mean, both goalies having to stay real active here. I mean, defense not necessarily looking like they're giving up chances, but both teams just really able to find these long shots and making do with what they got.
Ooh, that old corner shot by DeBeasy, that could have been dangerous. You really never know with those. Sometimes they take an awkward bounce off the pad and up in front and an easy tap in, but not that time. The Frigg gets a good chance and game's still tied up.
Wouldn't you know it? Another period ends 0-0, and I wonder if this will be another one where a goal late in the third kind of decides the game, or if we will go to that overtime, which, you know, I hate to root for overtime, but with this matchup, it's kind of almost expecting it. Kind of seems exciting where then you really know that next goal will decide it, but...
Oh no, for sure. Even though right now, even if it's not overtime, it feels like every goal is
where
punching.
You're fighting so hard, like even when you get what feels like your perfect chance and the goalies are still good enough to be able to make those saves, I mean, you really have to be worried about going down one goal at all. Knocked by Van Higgy into the side of the net. Not going to quite go in, but Lettuce with the rip in the air. And Van Higgy, I think, getting some contact with that. Frigg remaining calm and blocking that again. Just really good chances for both teams. And I'm, you know, if you didn't kind of know these lineups, you would be shocked that it's still 0-0 by now.
For sure. And DeBeasy right there with a great defensive play. Canoodle has a nice chance, but he stuffs him up, doesn't let him get a pass through, doesn't let him cut into the middle, and just like that, the chance is neutralized.
Yeah, and it's really playing on your toes, staying alert, where it feels like, you know, the moment you let your guard down, a chance can kind of form for the other team. So great plays by everybody, staying composed, staying really alert. I mean, you know, everybody's fighting for that first goal. I feel like everybody's really lasered in on what they're trying to get done. A shot, but blocked by Dabs, I believe. And Jim picks it up off the wall. And with everybody trying their hardest to get this one going, you know, the Moose probably aiming for the regulation win here if they want to stay tied and not lose that second spot. So they're really playing their hearts out. I mean, if it goes to overtime, it's not ideal for either team, seeing as this is really a decider now for these standings, kind of getting into the middle of the season. It really matters every point, like you said.
Yeah, no, exactly. As it was brought to my attention, there is still potentially 48 points before tonight that was up for grabs. So as far as we are into the season, there's still quite a bit of hockey left to be played, and could definitely matter in the long run. That extra point, you never truly know until the end.
Yeah, and that keeping up that momentum too, where, you know, I'm sure both these teams will not necessarily feel comfy, but feel happy that they're towards the top of these standings. But the higher up you are, the more confident, you know, keeping up that momentum, feeling like a top team in the league, and getting that confidence going into your games obviously helps out a lot as well. So he's trying to keep their heads up. A little rip over the net. Frigg watching that one sail over. Knocked into the slot, almost knocked away by Parabola, but ends up in the hands of the Frost Giants, although Looks like a collision between some of the Frost Giants is going to kill that play early. Van Higgy knocking into the side of the net, not going to get a threatening chance off of that as Novastar picks it up and clears it under a Frost Giant stick. Some passing plays going here. Now Parabola loading up. A shot perhaps, ripping it up into the air. Sleepy dashing perfectly into the way. A beautiful save. Not quite squared up with the puck there, but able to dash into position regardless. And that one was looking like it might have gone in, but Sleepy there and ready.
Something we didn't necessarily mention before the pregame. The Moose are coming off of a perfect week. They picked up all 12 points that were up for grab.
Oh man.
So, yeah, no, they're definitely hungry to keep that win streak going and regulation win streak going too, not nonetheless. So yeah, a 12-point swing is definitely a big momentum swinger for them. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember earlier in the season watching some of the games and kind of keeping track with the standings where, you know, it was still a star-studded lineup, but maybe not getting the same results that they were expecting compared to some of the other competitors in the league. But as more time has gone on, they've been really able to prove themselves. And a perfect week, not not easy by any means to attain. So that's got to be a huge confidence booster going into this game as well. And you know, believing like even if they're facing one of the other top teams there, it does not matter because they can beat the best of them.
Lettuce was a beautiful bat down. That was some great plays by him right there. Hard to miss Lettuce.
Yeah.
He's a very quiet player sometimes, and he doesn't always go noticed. But when he does, he comes up big.
Oh yeah, and flashy when he wants to be, I would say, with such a bright neon stick and waving it in the air when it comes time for it. Canoodle though loading up a shot, Sleepy getting a stick save there. But as I was gonna say, Lettuce really known for those dynamic air saves. Sleepy with another save with the pads, a pass into the slot, looking really dangerous. But Sleepy staying active. Canoodle slipping off the side of the net, and that was looking like it really could have been a go-ahead for the Moose. But Sleepy gonna keep the Frost Giants in this. As we get to the last 30 seconds of this period, still 0-0, but chances stacking up for both teams. And Sleepy, the goalie with the most recent saves here, and just doing a spectacular job facing another shot here, jumping up and getting active again. Maybe a little bit dangerous if it got tipped down, but thankfully nothing comes of it as we get to the last few seconds of this period.
Maybe one final
loading
chance
up a final shot.
Oh. Great save by Frigg. She almost got out of the way of it, but in the end made the save, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, staying composed in the final seconds. Oof.
Oh, it's very important. Those final seconds, I feel like they last extra long, and especially as a goalie. But yeah, no. Speaking of, we mentioned Canoodle earlier, but he's one of those players that can definitely score from anywhere. So
oh yeah.
Even if it's not pretty, even if it doesn't look good, if the puck ends up on a stick, there is a high chance of it going in the back of the net.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Where, especially with the passing plays as well, he can finish off the passes. He can deke. He can get a few shots off from some range, and yeah, like you said, a threat from anywhere. Where with the other team with Van Hee kind of specializing in those long shots and Tim Jim with the short shots, at least the goalie can kind of predict per player what's going to happen. But Canoodle, you really can never tell.
Which Tim Jim and Van Higgy might have a chance here. Nice pass in front, but goes a little bit wide. But DeBeasy back there to recover it. Fighting with Parabola ends up in a corner of the Moose, and they'll be able to collect that puck and get the breakout offense.
Yeah, Canoodle tapping it ahead, not quite meeting anybody. Dab's gonna easily pick that one up. Canoodle still applying some pressure there, but not really gonna get much of it. Parabola picking it up though, seeing what he can get done, rips it up into the air behind the net. Noodle able to pick it up, looking for that shot. Off the rebound, Paul K gets a nice shot, but Sleepy keeping an eye on the puck, not getting distracted and not getting losing any focus there. A beautiful save. Sleepy dropping a close one in the chat there, maybe some chirping going on. And you know, those rebounds I think are where you'll see even those really like high tier goalies still struggle a little bit. Or even if they're trying to keep that rebound clear, sometimes you just miss it with your stick and that creates a really dangerous chance. But Sleepy doing a heads up play, dashing over, doesn't quite keep the rebound where he wants it, but able to get that final save still.
Pablo with a nice wraparound chance here, possibly. Oh, passes in front, no one there to receive. Vade and Higgy going the other way, but they have two good defenders on. Nova is playing some great defense. A low percentage chance shot by Lettuce, but you never know.
You
Sometimes
never
the puck
know.
can take an awkward bounce and could definitely end up in the back of the net.
Yeah, and it's, you know, some people have different play styles, but I'm definitely with the mindset of, you know, if you have that shot, there's not a lot of other options. You might as well shoot at the goalie, because with a game like this where, you know, it feels like anything can kind of happen, you know, you might as well get that shot on the pads. Maybe the goalie's not paying attention. Maybe they dash, it goes 5-hole. You know, it's always worth getting that chance off if it's, you know, if it's an option. Even if it's low percentage, there's still a percentage.
I fully agree. Shots on net is never a bad thing. This game is full of surprises sometimes. And speaking of which, Tim Jim may have a break here.
Looking dangerous. Knocks
In
it, but
alone and just not able to get that angle, but it almost. And then it turns into instantly a Canoodle chance going the other way.
a beautiful pass to Paul K, cutting it back, but Dabs catches up just in time to knock it off his stick. That was looking real scary. But a little counterattack here. Frigg knocking it low across the ice. Lettuce picking it up. It's like a few Frost Giants kind of roaming across here. Timothy Jimothy getting knocked down in the corner by Nova. Some familiar faces running into each other there as the play is going back into center ice.
Nova the enforcer. Oh, good cut by Canoodle to break up that play right there. Van Higge could have definitely had a very dangerous chance going the other way.
Yeah, and a really testament to the defense here is that there haven't been a lot of just like straight up breakaways. It always feels like there's someone kind of there catching up. It feels like these contested shots as Paul K actually tries to get something done. Not quite getting it in there, but real threatening, pushing up against that goalie, trying to squeeze that puck in. With Dabs going to pick it and just clear it out. Kill that attack for now, landing into the hands of Timothy Jimothy. With Van Higge open in the slot, maybe able to get a playoff here. A pass, but knocked just to the side. And Nova's there to apply some pressure. And again, no free shots. Always contested, always somebody there chasing you, always a time crunch. Very great and tight defense from both teams here.
Yeah, no, for sure. And if you talk about team specialties, I think both of these teams definitely do specialize in that aggressive and oppressive defensive style. And I think you see it on full display tonight between both of the games.
Yeah, I mean, and one kind of element of both of their games to highlight is these counterattacks. It really feels like they're kind of trading blows at times where, you know, one team gets their chance, their goalie gets a great save, bounces off, and they turn it around instantly. Where it's just really capitalizing on those chances and turning around as fast as they can, where it's really creates the kind of a dynamic matchup, not as like stagnant as some of those more like just lockdown defense games, and really a thrill to watch.
Canoodle taken out of his own zone with a shot towards the net. Never know that that could have definitely sneaked in 5-hole, and then Van Higge almost had a beautiful chance, but Nova just swats that puck away and.
A dangerous chance there, close into the crease, cleared out eventually. A little scrum there in front. Lettuce getting a long shot off Frigg with a bat to end regulation. And I think Sleepy had another like baseball bat goal just a few seconds ago. I mean, both of them kind of not even just getting like the regular saves, but kind of flaunting their skill a little bit. This is a matchup of flair.
For sure. It's been quite the battle of the. I know we predicted at the start of Battle of the Giants, and it's not disappointed.
Yeah, and the Moose kind of, you know, missing that regulation win to keep themselves tied, so it looks like they're going to fall into that third place spot, but not by far, and especially not by far if they're able to pull out a win here. An early attack on Sleepy, but knocking quite out in the middle. Timothy Jimothy kind of there with the cherry pick, but Novastar catching up to him just in time. That could have been really dangerous as Parabola clears it down the ice to hopefully find a teammate off the boards, but Lettuce cuts in and knocks that back across.
Yep, Lettuce was receiving a pass here, and he can maybe take a long shot chance. Oh, he's breaking it in. Maybe look for in front pass. Oh, Van Higge just a little bit late. But almost indeed. But Canoodle instantly sprung the other way. Lettuce pinches a bit, and then Canoodle almost with a dagger right there.
Really could have been it. And now we truly are in golden goal. A little turn and rip going just above and over. Lettuce with some chirping, saying a nice shot on the chat there. Where both teams kind of giving each other a hard time. Definitely get involved in maybe some tension here. With Novastar loading up a little pass out front, knocked to the side. Dabs picking it up in his own zone. up in the corner, seeing what he can get done, keeping it away from the Moose, and getting a long shot.
That was definitely some interesting tech, but that definitely could have had a chance.
Oh yeah. And now
yeah, you got to think if you're the Moose, you got to be ultimately always looking for that puck to be on Canoodle's stick when it's in the offensive zone. You got to give them a chance to end that game for you.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen some good shots from Novastar the Enforcer again, pardon the interruption. We've seen some quality shots from some of the other Moose, but Dab's really that main threat, especially without Goodheart on the ice. Dab's going to be the one or not Dab's, Canoodle. I'm mixing up my names here. Canoodle being the one you want to funnel it into as the puck wraps around the ice. Novastar picking it up in the back end, looking to make a play here, seeing what his options are, and rips that, just missing Canoodle there on the pass, maybe lifts over his stick a little bit as we get a little fight on the boards, ripping back around. Paul K able to pick it up, looking for a pass here, knocked into the sky though, not going to find a Moose for that attack just yet, but Canoodle picks it up and rips it across. Could have been a threatening chance, but not quite on target yet, as we are still scoreless in overtime.
That's a defensive responsibility that you'll have to see out of the Moose. The puck, Nova could have had a chance to pinch him there, maybe win the 50-50, get a chance on net, but instead realizes that if he does that, he'd be on a 2-on-1 going the other way potentially, and opts to step back and play the defensive zone, and been very smart defensively this game for sure.
Yeah,
nice breakup there by Nova though.
Yeah, not giving up free chances, not giving up any stupid attacks. Like I was saying earlier, no just full-on breakaways. It always feels like there's someone there marking their man. As we get a close attack, Van Higgy ripping it around the net, not quite inside. Dangerous chance nonetheless, as Paul K wants to quickly turn around and pass it down to Canoodle. Passing it back, not able to keep the puck that time. They send back to Parabola, looking for a deep stretch. Canoodle there in front with a shot, but low and into the pads of Sleepy. They got the right idea. They're funneling it to the right guy, but not making that connection just yet. With Lettuce picking it up now, ripping it off the boards. And a little interception there. Novastar picking it up. Van Higgy not able to keep that offense going off that stretch pass. Knocking into the board safely to Parabola as they try and turn this back around into Frost Giant territory. Canoodle, the man of the hour, loading up his shot again, but wide this time. Getting a little last chip in on that corner. A little dangerous spot for any goalie. It looks like it's going to be safely returned to sender this time. As Van Higgy out in open ice and Frigg dashes in to stop the goal. And again, that back and forth of counterattacks really could go either way.
Yeah, for sure. And Frigg has had a bit of a quiet time these past few minutes. She hasn't had to do too much, but when she is tested, then definitely steps up to the play, makes a big save, and that's why I need her there.
Yeah, keeping that composure. That's so much of what it's about. A long shot, but you can go stretches of or even multiple periods without really facing a quality chance. But when that time does come, being able to just lock in instantly when you need to is just such a great trade to have. But Canoodle, as you predicted, finally gets his not open chance, still contested, but cuts it back and rips it in. What a way to end the matchup as the Moose get an overtime win.
That was some incredible games by both of the teams. And yeah, no, Canoodle, you give him a bit too much room. Let up the defense a little bit. He made that good move past him, and it was all she wrote.
And I'm glad we finally did get some overtime like we expected. I think both goalies can feel really good about how they performed. I mean, insane saves on both sides, and insane chances for both teams, but trading wins here. The first one going to a regulation win for the Frost Giants, and the Moose still recouping some points there with the overtime win. And
yeah, no, for sure. It was so yeah, like you said, ultimately the Giants come out with the extra point, but I think it's been anything but a one-sided affair, right? It's definitely could have gone either way. Could have quickly made that a different story, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the ideal matchup that we could have hoped for. Both games being decided by one goal, not feeling like any goal is kind of giving it up that night, and both teams playing hard, and we expected a great match and we got a great match. So thank you so much for joining me in the booth. Any final comments, Nick?
No, thank you for having me. It's been great. Very enjoyable games to spectate and to get to watch in. I don't get to do this too often due to I get to
Yeah.
also play on these game days. But next time I have a bit of a different timeline, maybe we can make this happen again. This was very fun. Thank you for
Yeah, let's
having me.
keep it going. Thank you for joining me. Always love the insights, and scheduling permitting, I will see you around again. And to
All
the
right,
rest of
thank
you
you.
viewing, thank you so much for joining. Good night, good puck, and I'll see you around.